What species was the first species in space? Now you might think it's obviously humans, right? Well, technically, it's not, technically. Thanks to humans, there have been a number of different animals that have been to space and returned to tell the tale. Well, not actually tell the tale, but you know what I mean. My name is Danny Burke, and this is the top 10 animals that have been to space. Coming at number 10 now, I'm grouping these together, we have monkeys and apes. One of the main reasons that animals are sent to space is so that scientists can investigate the biological effects of space travel. Monkeys and apes have made good candidates for this because they are more physically similar to humans than most other animals. 32 monkeys alone have been to space, with species ranging from rhesus macaques to squirrel monkeys and pigtail monkeys. Next up at number 9 now, we have rabbits. On July 2nd, 1959, the Soviet Union launched their Soviet R-2 rocket, which reached an altitude of 132 miles. On board was McPhee, the first rabbit to go into space. She was recovered alive with her 2 dog companions on the trip. And yes, that's a bit of a spoiler for our number 8 now, we have dogs. In the 1950s and 60s, the Soviet Union ran dozens of missions to space with dogs on board in order to see if humans could handle it. They became the preferred animal for the experiments because scientists felt dogs were well suited to endure long periods of inactivity. The Soviets also used stray dogs because they felt they would be more able to tolerate the extreme stresses of spaceflight better than most other dogs. The most famous example, of course, is Laika, the first higher life form creature from Earth to reach orbit. And that leads us to the first animals to ever reach space. At number 7 we have fruit flies. Yes, fruit flies are insects, but in case you didn't know, insects belong to the family of Animalia. God, I am starting to sound like my dad. Some fruit flies were launched into space by the US using a captured Nazi V-2 rocket on February 20th, 1947. The flies reached an altitude of 68 miles, well into what we would define as space. They were later recovered alive by parachute and went on to live a long fruit fly life, which is about 50 days. Fruit flies on a Nazi rocket. Why has this not been made into a movie yet? Coming at number 6 now, we have spiders. Spiders in Space, another great movie name. Spiders were first sent into space in the early 1970s in order to study how they build their webs in zero gravity. The study still continues as the International Space Station is no stranger to hosting the 8-legged beasties. In 2011, a pair of golden orb spiders named Gladys and Esmeralda were spinning webs on board the space station, or at least they were trying to. Golden orb spiders use gravity to orientate themselves and build their webs. Scientists have been fascinated to see how they overcome this problem in zero gravity. Perhaps humans can also learn how to construct in space without the help of gravity. Next up at number 5 now, we have cats. The first cat launched into space was called Félicité. With a name like that, you might not be surprised to learn it was launched by France. Her nickname was Astro Cat. She was a stray purchased by the French government from a pet dealer who found her on the streets. The launch used a French sounding rocket on October 18, 1963. She had electrodes implanted in her skin to transmit information about her condition back to mission control. Félicité reached an altitude of 100 miles before landing safely. To this day, she remains the only cat to have ever been sent to space. Meow. Coming in number 4 now, we have tortoises. Yes, they aren't known for their speed, but some tortoises have been to space and travelled at insane speeds. 2 of them were on board Zond 5, the unmanned Soviet spacecraft that launched on September 14th, 1968. Where did they go? Well, they actually went to the moon, kind of. Zond 5 did a flyby of the moon, coming within 1,210 miles of it before turning back to Earth. The tortoises survived re-entry. It was announced they had lost about 10% of their body weight, but still had a healthy appetite. However, I do not recommend moon trips as an alternative diet. Moving on to number 3 now, we have mice. During the 1950s, mice became a popular choice for the US to launch into space to test their rockets. Unfortunately, spaceflight was still in its infancy then, and many of the rockets were destroyed during the missions, taking the mice with them. It was actually the Soviet Union and their launch of Sputnik 5 in 1960 that marked the first non-fatal spaceflight for mice. That craft also carried 2 dogs, the rabbit we talked about earlier, 2 rats, 15 flasks of fruit flies, and a total of 40 mice. Why did they need that many mice? Who knows? Maybe the mice do. Coming at number 2 now, we have tardigrades. You guys may have heard me talk about these little things before on this channel. They are tiny, just half a millimeter in size, but the micro animals are often referred to as the toughest on the planet, having been found living at the top of mountains, in the deepest seas, in the Antarctic, and even in mud volcanoes, whatever they are. In 2007, scientists at the European Space Agency wanted to see just how tough they really are by launching them into space on the outside of a craft with no protection injection. Obviously this would kill most living things that we know of, but not tardigrades. For 10 days they were exposed to the vacuum of space and solar radiation. When they returned to Earth, many of them went on to produce viable embryos. What's their secret? And will humans ever be able to use it themselves? Interesting thoughts. And finally at number 1 now guys, we have the bat. You'll notice I'm just saying the bat for this one, and that's because as far as I know this is the only bat to have been to space and also the only animal that humans didn't intend to go to space. What do I mean by that? In 2009, during the launch of the Space Shuttle Discovery, a free-tailed bat was seen clinging to the fuel tank on the outside of the craft. NASA observers believed the bat would fly off as the shuttle started to launch, but to their amazement the bat just stayed put as the rocket blasted off into space. A wildlife expert said the bat had likely broken its wing and couldn't fly away. The brave bat most likely died at some point on the way up into space, but it still completed a space launch, either dead or alive, and it didn't need a human's permission to do it. Rest in peace, brave little space rat. Bat. I love space, and I'm also a big fan of animals in general, so what a great video that was for me. I hope you guys feel the same. What other space or animal videos would you like to see next on the channel? Thank you for watching as always. My name is Danny Burke and I will see you all in the next one.